Hi, it's Jon Cronshaw here with my author diary for the weekend in November the 19th, 2023. Had a busy week. I have been working on a couple of projects. I've been working on Punks vs. Zombies, so I now have the 9th episode of that written and ready, done the audio and all that stuff, so that is ready to go on Substack and on YouTube, all scheduled. I have also been working on Ravenglass Legends Book 2, so I went back to that. Turns out I haven't touched it since July, so yeah, had a look at that. Kind of reoriented myself with the story, and got back into it. So I did a good chunk of that, a good chapter of that. Yeah, I've got what is it? The arc of the main character Ragnar is 60,000 words, and I'm 40,000 words in, so I need to carry on doing that. I have the first book ready; that is all ready to go. Just needs formatting, and I've got covers, all that good stuff. So I'm waiting, just sitting on that really. In terms of my mental health, last week, I was really struggling with the SAD, and I think I'm over the hump. I think I'm over the worst. It's I've felt a big improvement this week. I feel like my energy levels are pretty much, back to almost where they were earlier in the year. So that's good. I got the cover actually as well this week to Punks vs. Zombies, and it looks really cool. It's the same guy who I get to do my covers now, Christian, and it's amazing. Such a good cover. So that is already up as the podcast cover. He's done me a YouTube version as well, and obviously I've got the normal book cover for when I eventually do releases as a book or a trilogy. I don't know what it'll be. I think most likely it'll be a trilogy, 3 kind of short novels, probably about 50,000 words each, the way it's looking. So they're about the same length as my earlier books, like my Wasteland series and Blind Gambit and stuff like that. So I'm happy with that length. I think anything above 40,000 words is a novel. 50,000 words is fine. So yeah, happy with that. In terms of reading, I read The Pagan Lord by Bernard Cornwell. So this is the 7th book in his Saxon Warrior, Anglo-Saxon series, whatever that's called, Saxon something series. Anyway, Lost Kingdom maybe. Yeah, but it's really good. Really enjoyed that. Like, this series is, it starts off with him being a kid and going all through his life. So in this book, he's now in his 50s. So yeah, really cool. Next week then is I'm going to keep on doing what I've been doing this week, which is basically a bit on this, a bit on that, a bit on the what's it called? Yeah, Ravenglass Legends. I want to get the second book of that done, so I'll be focused on that a few days. Probably do a bit more on Punks vs. Zombies. I've also been thinking a lot about the Dawn of Assassins stuff, because last week I talked about the idea that it's not quite aligned right with the reader. Now, what I've concluded is it's kind of like in the 4th book, it's going to make sense anyway why it's called Dawn of Assassins and why it's building towards that. So I'm going to keep it as Dawn of Assassins, but I'm going to be writing a story for Substack soon. I've already started outlining it. Well, I have an outline. I've started the first chapter, should I say. This is got a working title of Scoundrels, and it's basically the same characters, but it's set about 3 years before the events of Dawn of Assassins. So it's when they're thieves. So I'm basically going to do a bit of a bridging thing. So I'm going to do, some stories set in this time period, which will lead into the Dawn of Assassins stuff. So there'll be a thief fantasy and then a bit of a leap. So it looks like I'm doing quite a few novels around this. So, I've obviously got Guild of Assassins, which is Soren's story, who was the master assassin from book 1 of the series. So there's a lot of stuff where it's kind of all feeding into this bigger narrative, whatever you want to call it. I forgot to mention, actually, I started watching a series with my wife called Succession, which is on Now TV, highly recommend this. I think it's on HBO in the US. Just watched the first series. We basically watched it in a week. And I think this is proof that you don't actually need likeable characters to make a compelling story. It's like all the characters in this are awful. They're all terrible people, but they've all got their own brand of being terrible. I think it's the best way to put it. So I definitely recommend that. It's not for kids. It's not for people who are offended by. If you're offended by stuff, don't watch it, because there's going to be stuff in there that will offend you, guaranteed. But yeah, bad language and all that. Some really dark humour at points. But yeah, absolutely compelling story. The writing is tremendous. And I looked up, who the writer was, and it's the same guy who was involved in things like Peep Show and The Thick of It and Veep. So these are all shows that I've really enjoyed over the years. So yeah, if you have watched The Thick of It, it's kind of similar humour. Just that really dark, lots of bad language, just horrible people doing horrible things, trying to kind of scramble for power. But yeah, really interesting anyway. So check that out. That's called Succession, and yeah, it's got what is it? Macaulay Culkin's brother in it, called Roman. I think his real name, what is it? Can't remember what his real name is now. Something Culkin. Kevin? No, that's the kid in Home Alone, isn't it? Yeah, can't remember what his name is. But yeah, Kieran. There we go. Yes, I remember things. So yeah. Anyway, check that out. Really good. Really good. So until next time, cheerio.